All right. Hey there, lunatics. Welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing today? We are going to be doing some testing on a few things as well as maybe making some new character builds. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just roaming around in Core Keeper today. So, one thing I had been told by one of my members is that Malagaz has changed a bit. So I want to test out Malagaz and see what it's actually going on. Okay. Uh, I'm looking for the Malagaz summoning stuff. Here we go. Okay, so right now I'm just doing proof of concept, which is why I'm using my character with insane hit points and not something that's more appropriate. What I want to do is I want to test to make sure that the Malagaz cheese still works, and if it doesn't, why? You know? So I've got a lot of junk in my bag, I just noticed. Okay. Got a few of these. I don't need more. Okay, let's see. So I want to try the Malagaz cheese out and see if it still works. I'm being told that it doesn't, so let's see what happens. Yeah, because it looks like, well, maybe not. Oh, I think it's still working just fine. Let's just give it a second. Because I'd been reported that he just stands on his sigil and doesn't move, but that does not appear to be the case. We're gonna go through the whole thing and just let this do its thing and see if anything's changed at all. I don't think anything has though. I am curious to see if he teleports out onto one of the bridges, because theoretically he can. Just like he's dropping fire onto each one, he could theoretically teleport onto one of them. Which is normally why you have the fence posts down so that he can't do that, as well as so that the fire can't go there either. I mean, this looks like it's working just fine. I think I'm debunking this one. It's kind of a slow test, though. Because I also want to see if it still works in phase 2, so we just want to let this burn down. What's everyone up to in the meantime, since I'm just kind of sitting here and letting the game play itself? Hope you all are having a great day. Meanwhile, I'm also watching as my phone is blowing up because normally tonight's a D&D night for my group, and it looks like two of the players might not be coming, so maybe no D&D tonight. Yeah, such is the way of life, right? All right, we're going to start phase two here in a sec. Now, if phase two is working, I'm not going to bother waiting through all of phase two. I'll run around and give him and kill him. I just want to make sure that he doesn't reset or that he doesn't do something weird in phase two or he doesn't just sit here constantly healing. It doesn't look like he is. I'll give it a few more seconds. Oh, thank you, Carden. I really appreciate that. Well, I hope I'm not spoiling anything for you here since you just started playing. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. He went back to phase one. Ooh, that's interesting. I wonder if his um aggro range is significantly shorter now. Saw a little healing there, but it was right as he was dying. Might have been the how the reset his hit points. Interesting. You move one tile away and he resets back to phase one. All right, so the cheese still works, but you have to be real close. I'm going to have to double check my Malagaz video and see how I have it set up because now you have to be on the tile right next to him here for it to work. Let me take a screenshot of this. All right. All right, that's interesting. That's good to know. Ooh, look at that. Oh, he teleported into the wall. And then he teleports back. And let's see. Yeah, and he just heals the whole time. Yeah, I can see how the cheese doesn't work anymore if you're not right next to right here. All right. Let's go finish this fight. Hold still. Thank you. All right. All right, good to know. All right, I'll have to double check my cheese video later, or my video on that later, and see if I have to tweak that at all. If I do, I'll republish the video. But if not, then I just won't worry about it. All right, it is time that I actually work on a new version 2 of the cattle farm. I've been putting it off for far too long, so it's time that we experiment a bit. So let's grab a couple drills. Is that new? Hold on. All right. Hold on. Someone tell me if I'm crazy. I don't remember this. Now, I've been playing this game for so long that I sometimes forget features that have been in the game forever that I don't often use. Has it always been that if you hold right click, it just keeps adding one to your thing? Have I just never held right click? I have no idea. Learn something new every day. This apparently, if it's been in the game for a long time, I never knew it was a thing. I always just kept individually. I do know the control click for 10. That I do know. But I mean holding down right click and having it just constantly scroll up. That's something that I apparently have just never done. some wires. I know about shift click too, Icarus. Yes, I know about shift click and control click. Those I've known about for a while. I'm only talking about holding right click. Trying to think if I need anything else. I got robot arms, conveyor belts, I got walls. Yep, I got everything I need. I don't need a complicated circuit anymore. So that's not an issue. Oh, I need some cattle. Um, Hey, let's see here. Let's grab. Oh God, I've got so many of so much of everything. I'm gonna grab you, and I'm gonna grab. I'm just gonna grab some camels because I have so many of them. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see if I can remember how I put this together in the first place. Um, it's been a while. Let's see here. We have the feeding trough here. We've got robot arms. We want them to be in this area. So we want the robot arms here. Feeding trough here. Yeah, mushroom farms are good. Um, there's lots of good ways to auto feed. Hey, Ann Frika, you're just the person I was thinking about. Hold on. I already did some testing on Malagaz, and I want to show this to you because the cheese still works. It's just very, very specific now. Let me show you. Let me show you. All right, so I'm going to summon Malagaz here. And then I'm going to walk away. Come out here, break one of those. All right. So if I stand here, right, in the middle, then he's just going to keep healing. And he goes back to the middle and he just stays and he keeps healing. The cheese isn't working. First thought, oh crap. But if I stand here, cheese starts to work again. Malagaz just does his thing. Everything's good. You just have to stand right next to his arena wall and you'll be just fine. So as long as you're doing this, the cheese still works. No problems. So yeah, it's just got a much smaller radius now than it had before. It used to be that I could stand out here and I'd be just fine. I could even stand like over here and I'd also be fine before. In fact, there was a cheese way that you used to be able to do where Malagaz would teleport into this western wall here and you could actually hit him and he wouldn't be able to hit you. Um yeah, you were literally just one step too far away. Malagaz, get back in here. Dick. Come on. There we go. So I'm glad that the cheese does still at least work, but it definitely it did change. The change in the healing radius definitely affected how it all works. Hey, Frederick, since I still am afraid to pronounce your name after the interview, your last name after the interview, and I butchered it so badly. Oh my God, this beard I need to shave so bad. Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, on YouTube, Prantere is the CEO of Pugstorm and one of the creators of Core Keeper. So thank you so much for being here, even if you're only here for a few minutes. Just in time to see me go, yes, this cheesy strat still works. You didn't fix it like you thought you did. Oh, it's okay. Um, what else are we doing? Where did I put my other? I literally just had this. Where? I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Oh, but back to what we were originally doing. We're trying to do a brand new cattle farm here, auto cattle farm. And I hope Alex and Tess had a good time at the Bomberman challenge. I know I had a good time. It was fun. I've been editing the video. I hope to have it up early next week. I was originally hoping to have it up by Friday, but I don't think that's going to happen now. Um, but yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was good. It was good. You're in Copenhagen? Oh my God. I want to go to Copenhagen. Take me with you. Hire me to be your personal assistant. I'll do whatever you need. And I'll make core keeper videos on the side. We can go to Copenhagen and do cool stuff. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. All right. Let's see. So then um, Well, if you're gonna get pervy with it, of course, anything. Absolutely anything you say. Isn't that what a personal assistant does anyway? Whatever the boss tells them to do? I don't know. I've never been one. All right, maybe I don't need... I can just put that there. And then the cattle are stuck here. They eat, so they breed. Oh, they need to get killed, though. Okay, that's right. I need the overflow kill area. Okay. So, the overflow... I think that's too close. What do you guys think? You think that'd be too close that the cattle would naturally wander down here on their own and just get stabbed to death? I'm worried that that might happen. You know what? I want to also try this in a different, going a different way. Hold on. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Icarus. They'll just get killed. I also want to try this going this way. So let's go back to doing that. And then I think, although if I remember correctly, hold on, I need to test something. Do drills destroy conveyor belts, don't they? Although there's a way around that. Maybe not. I thought drills destroyed conveyor belts. Hey Bimba, good to see you. There it is. That drill, there it goes. The drill destroyed the conveyor belt. Okay. I think though, if you put, hold on. Nope, it still does it. Okay. Yeah, I knew that they affected the conveyor belts, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if I feel like there was a way around it. Like you could put another tile down and it would make the conveyor belts immune. But I thought it was wires, and that apparently is not it. So I don't remember. Okay, we're gonna make that a kill area. Right there. Maybe. Let's check. Yeah. Let's grab a glass one too. Where's my glass workbench? Just in case it's a glass floor, you know? Glass floors can act weird. Nope, it still does it. Okay. Let me try glass. Oh yeah, that broke it right away. Yeah, that didn't even take 2 hits. That was just done. Okay. Weaker drills and a stronger tile. Maybe. Maybe. So I'm tempted to use a I want to test to see what happens if I have a drill right here in case a mob makes it through all of this or spawns up here for some reason, like they get pushed into a different area. But I'm also worried that my loot, if I do that, actually, you know what, let's take that into consideration. Um okay, if I of course. Okay, the arm gets it first. All right, that's what matters to me because I want the arm to get it before the drill pulls it back. So the purpose of a drill here should be to kill overflow cows that accidentally make it. But what if some of the loot does get pushed back? Um Theoretically this should work. It's already proven annoying. Yeah. Hold on. I need to give bomb pepper 600. Come on. Come on, move this way. All of you. All right, so theoretically, this may be a decent version 2.0. Let's see here. We'll drop some of those. That should give them plenty. Also should give me plenty of kill spots. It'll take care of meat. It'll take care of... Yeah, that should take care of dung as well. What would I need cranes outside the walls for? Oh, that's true. Those drills are gonna grab them, aren't they? I want to see what happens since one of them's gonna die. Oh, maybe one of them's not gonna die. Can one of you guys please die? Hmm. That'll at least fix if I need it. If I need robot arms, like if I need one, I can put one here, put one here, here, and here. If that's the case, then all right. That will at least grab. This will at least grab anything that gets into the wall. Oh, I need to provide power to it. Um, is that hard for you? That's not hard for me. So I'm not super worried about that. You can just open it, shift click. and you're good. Wait. I don't know if I like doing it this way. Don't get me wrong, Icarus. I don't necessarily think I like this, but um this is just like a first draft, proof of concept, right? And then we start to tweak and play. Because I don't like having all these conveyor belts on the outside. Like honestly, I would prefer to skip all of that. But if I'm gonna skip all of this, I need to make sure that nothing's gonna get caught by these drills. Could go around to the other side, that is true. Do I need that many drills? No. I never need that many drills. I overdo everything. One thing that is never in my mind is this cost effective? Because that's something that I just do not care about. Get the resources. I don't care. I don't want to do it the cheapest, most cost effective way possible. Here's the least amount of materials needed in order to make this farm. I don't give a shit. Get the materials you need. I need to get a pickaxe. I can't keep doing this with sledgehammer. Apparently, I don't have any pickaxes that are decent. All I have is this tin pickaxe. Really? I'm gonna have to make a pickaxe? Where the hell are all my soul seekers? Here's one. Sorry, I'm plotting things out in my head. Oh, yep. So that dung, I'm glad I have the overflow right there because that dung didn't get picked up fast enough. So that's good. Hey, Sully boy, thank you for the Twitch follow. Really appreciate it. Hey, thanks, Arissa. I appreciate that too. Yeah, 10K, finally. Thank you guys so much. For those of you who watched my thank you video, thank you again. For those of you who haven't, thank you for subscribing. I've finally got 10K follower or 10K subscribers on YouTube. So here's to for another 10K, right? I'm doing good, Sully boy. I'm doing pretty good. I'm just testing out a new potential version of the cattle auto farm. I've been meaning to do a version 2.0 for a while. Where I got a lot of good feedback from people, and I just never got around to it. So here we are. All right, can I get away with fewer drills? And Frika, were you cheesing him? Because you have to put down the fences to prevent the fireballs from hitting you. Um, Otherwise, he can still hit you with the fire. Um, but if you've got those fences down, it should block it. Assuming you were doing the cheese method. If you were in the arena and he set you on fire a few times, well, that makes total sense. Okay, so let's think about this. I can get rid of 2 drills if I kind of I could get rid of 2 drills if I basically make this area right here where I'm standing into a wall instead of, you know, an area where someone can stand. So let's see if I get rid of these. That I can do that from a drill standpoint, and then walls. So if they drop into here, they die. If they drop up here, they die. If they spawn in a corner or if they spawn on the other areas, they'll eventually make their way over to this corner where they die. Let me also go ahead and move that there, and then I can put a wall here. Wall there. That might actually do it. And I surround the whole thing. And then you can access the loot, you can access the food, and you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about anything else. And then for those who eat bugs, you just replace the feeding trough with hardened sap, and that will work just as well. Yes, Kaza, this is an automatic cattle killing machine. I made a version 1 of it a while back, and it's very small, very compact. This version is bigger, that's for sure. But I feel like this version's a little more foolproof. That first version had some kinks in it. And that first version was definitely designed for pre 1.0 content because it had a complicated timer that is no longer necessary. because I don't need to constantly be refilling my food. But I think that might work. Cool. I'm going to let this do its thing for a little bit and see what we end up with. Let this run for 8 to 10 hours. We'll see what we get. You know, it probably should be, Matthew. Let me go take a look at that. I often screw that up a little bit. Yes, it absolutely should be. Thank you for catching that. Um, oh my god, this place has become a nightmare. Trying to get every cattle variant has definitely gotten me a whole lot of cattle and a whole lot of junk. I need to turn breeding off on all of these guys, but it's become too much. I can't sort them and turn the breeding off. All right, I need to think up of a new, let's see here. I think I need some new mid-game builds. Let me take a look at builds that I've done in the past. Let's see here. Character build videos. All right, so plenty. Let's see, I've got an early game explosion build, early game magic, early game melee, mining, early game ranged and warlock. Okay, so that sounds like I've got an early game build for pretty much every class. Tons of end game stuff. But I've only made one mid game build, and that's a dodge build. So I think today I need to make another mid game build. What do you guys think? What kind of mid game build should I make first? Something that I would consider to be a build that you would have around the time that you're defeating the 3 Titans. So we're talking Azios, Omeroth, and Rawkar. There's a lot of good melee options during that time period. There's also some pretty decent magic and summoning options during that time period, too. Things really open up for both magic and summoning around there. All right, I got 20 people on my stream right now, which is more than I normally have. Where are all of you guys when I'm not playing Core Keeper? Is this all anyone cares about is Core Keeper? I play other games too. That's okay. I understand. Everyone loves Core Keeper. Okay, what kind of build do I want to do? What kind of build do I want to do? This is melee. What is this doing in ranged? I've been tempted. Democracy's been calling me a little bit too. I've been tempted to reinstall that game and play some Helldivers. Although I will admit I've been really, really addicted to Schedule 1. Pun intended. Um, let's see if we can do a magic summoning build that's mid-game that isn't necessarily copying my Magilock build. All right, so let's see here. What do I want? I need to pull up wiki. So if we're going mid-game, the Scholar set really is a good magic set for mid-game. And that drops off of stuff in the Sunken Sea. So yeah, let's start there. All right. So do I have any Scholar stuff, or do I need to summon it? Or not Scholar, Sorcerer. Why am I saying Scholar? We can look at Scholar stuff too. Let's look at the Scholar stuff also. It's the same time period. Here's a Scholar Cloak. These are both leveled up. I need stuff that's not leveled up. There's a Sorcerer Robe. I have a Scholar Cloak that's not. I do. Good. Okay. And hats. There's a Scholar's Hood. Here's a Sorcerer's Hood. Now let's look at necklaces from around that time period. Let's see here. All right, so we've got polished necklaces. What's good from the polished necklace? The polished gold crystal is good. Let's look at that. Give a polished gold crystal necklace. All right, let's do that. Okay, polished gold crystal necklace. And what other good? Let's see what else we got that's mid-game. There's lots of mid-game stuff here. Let's see here. Technically the crescent necklace. We shouldn't ignore early game stuff either, because early game stuff can be leveled up. So let's remember that. All right, and let's see. We've got the bubble pearl necklace. That's a good option. Now, crit chance can matter for mages. Yeah, let's count stuff from the desert too. I think desert stuff is perfectly good. But once we reach killing Hydra bosses, that's when I'm like, no. The Atlantean worm boss is an acceptable boss, though. So anything that drops off of that. Like, for example, we can also consider the glass bead necklace. I'm not necessarily saying that it's going to be the right choice, but it's worth considering because magic users benefit so heavily from critical hit. So let's take that into consideration. Um, means we should consider the copper cross necklace. As well as the polished copper cross necklace. And the bone necklace, I believe. Yeah, so that has crit. So these are all potential crit necklaces here. These are mid-game magic necklaces. There's also the crescent necklace, which I don't necessarily think is going to be worth it. But let's not rule it out. Not yet, anyway. The torque necklace. Yeah, that's fair. Let's consider that. Because that's just raw damage. So that's worth considering. And we should also consider the nomad necklace. All right, so that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to consider. But we're not done. We are not done. Let's look at rings now. The polished glow tulip ring. Definitely worth looking at that one. Oh, let's get two of them, just in case. Let's look at the polished golden spike ring as well. Because again, crit. Let's look at the crescent ring. Boundary ring. Let's look at the Wild Warden ring, because you never know with that. That's what we're putting together, Arissa. We're putting together a mid-game mage build. Look at the mold ring. Let's look at Morpha's ring. Got a lot of rings to look at. A lot of rings. Okay, so then the question becomes... No, actually, the question is very easy in this sense. We're going to go with the Octarine backpack because... the Scholar backpack, you can't get in early game. That's a late game backpack. So at the very least, we know our bag. And I know I'm going to use the Pearl Lantern, although I'm going to replace this with one that's not level 19. Okay. And then offhand, let's see here. Offhand's a little easier. Let's see, we've got the blue leather tome, the rift lens, crystal meteor chunk is an option, and the concealed blade is an option. Although it's probably going to be the book, to be honest with you. It's probably going to be the book. I love the Rift Lens, don't get me wrong. The Rift Lens is great. I personally never use the teleport. So, since for me, the teleport's useless because I always forget it's there. So as a result, the Rift Lens drops significantly lower in my usability and viability. But if you're someone who uses that teleport, Rift Lens all the way. Oh no, Arissa, no. I'm so sorry about your Owlux. Yeah, I get you there, Obi. But one thing for me, I actually don't like roguelikes. So most roguelikes. There's a few that I like, but most roguelikes are it's not my cup of tea, especially really hard roll roguelikes like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. I will never play those games. Because my idea of a bad time is fighting the same boss over and over again and dying constantly until I'm strong enough to beat it. That sounds like my idea of hell. Um, so roguelikes don't usually appeal to me. But yeah, I don't usually do things when I game, I very rarely hit spacebar. It's not something that's normally in my muscle memory. Okay, to me, roguelikes and soul likes are the same thing. I don't see a difference. That's the exact same game. Okay. So let's see. Scholars or sorcerer. See, the critical hit chance is good, but the set bonus doesn't matter. I do get more health. Oh, let's also do this. Let's decide what level we want everything to be. I suppose, yeah, I need to decide. Like, I remember playing Rogue, the original one that spawned the genre. And I think I played it for about an hour and went, nope, not for me. Uh, Hades. Hades is the only roguelike I've ever played that I liked. The only one. See, sacrifice max mana with the Scholar's Cloak. I think what's gonna matter actually whether or not um whether or not we go with scholar or sorcerer will depend entirely on which mage staff we're using. Am I using the arcane staff, the scholar staff, the fireball staff? Like, which one of these staves do I want to use? All right, well, let's rule out some other things because I think we can come back to the chest and head. I got lots of necklaces and rings to look at here. I think level 13 is the level that I'm going to set everything at. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to say that just because I don't like a game that I think it's awful. I absolutely appreciate roguelikes. They're just not my personal cup of tea. Um, or soul likes, if you want to call them that too. It's just like there's other genres of game like I'm not usually a fan of sports games, but I will play them periodically. Um, I remember actually as a kid on my NES, I used to play Base Wars all the time, and I loved that game. And it was just a baseball game, but you played as androids, or not androids, you were robots, and you could actually fight if you stole bases. You'd actually have to battle it out, which was a lot of fun, especially for a Nintendo game, you know. All right, everything's leveled up. So now I can get a better feel for some of this stuff. So 13% crit hit versus 6% with some good crit damage. All right, so this only has a 7% crit hit chance at this level. So this thing can, I don't need the 10 armor. Can absolutely chuck that one out. Not going to be the bone necklace. 41 max mana is nothing to scoff at. But again, depending on what we're doing, I don't know if we're going to necessarily need it. 9% magic damage with some mana regen and magic bear. I mean, this is I feel like the bubble pearl is one of the best, like, all around. Just because it gives you barrier, it gives you mana regen, it gives you magic damage. But again, the question becomes, how much mana regen do we need? What weapon are we using? Because if we're using the arcane staff, we're not going to need a lot of mana regen. We're going to need a lot of crit. If we're using the fireball staff or the scholar staff, then yes, we need mana regen. I think I'm going to say no to the crescent necklace. It's just not that, it's just not useful enough. One of the hard parts about making builds is anticipating where people are in the game, especially when you're doing mid-game stuff. You know, it depends on how much, you know, what they're using, what they've got on hand. Builds can be so different depending on just one or two changes the whole thing. Which I think is a good thing. It is definitely a good thing because it definitely means that there's no solid meta. You know, lots of different items are good for lots of different reasons. And that's I think that's a good thing. Because the last thing you want is a game with 400 items in it, but only 10 of them are actually viable, you know? So I'm going to actually step AFK for just a minute. I need to take a quick bio break. Um, I will be right back, guys. Hi, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, as soon as I got out of the bathroom, one of my cats was meowing at me, had me follow her downstairs, and then she jumped up on the counter, and she just wanted some nip. So I gave her some nip. Um, let's see here. Just gonna catch up on chat. Yeah, auto fishing is a great mod. I love that mod. And you're right, Obi. There hasn't been any real non-quality of life stuff. I would say probably one of the main reasons for that is the devs keep changing things. Um, they're adding constantly. They're changing how the back end works. They change some of the mechanics, major mechanics of the game, even with small updates. And I know at least one modder that had been working on like a harder version of bosses, and they kept changing the code behind how the bosses worked. And so every time a new update came out, he had to start over. And it just got frustrating to a point that he just gave up. Now, mind you, this was all during early access. So, but I have heard that it's not happening as much now that 1.0 has come out, but it's still happening. So, that's probably one of the main reasons why we're not seeing a lot of content expansion stuff. Largely, and I also have no idea if oh, actually, no, yeah, it would allow custom sprites because some stuff has been done for that. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my best guess is that, or maybe the modding scene just isn't big enough yet. There just aren't enough modders other than the couple quality of life modders that are out there. Like Limoka does, I want to say like 70% of the most common, most used mods out there come from her. So it may just be that the community's small. Yeah, like stuff that happens right now, like for example, in the very last update, the 1.1.2, they changed how bosses heal. Like the entire exiting combat and healing system for bosses just got a complete rework. So if you were working on a boss mod, your boss code just changed. Right now, Kami, we are putting together a mid-game magic user build. Earlier, we did some testing on a new cattle auto farm version 2.0. We also did some testing on Malagaz cheese because of the way that boss healing has changed. Malagaz's reset radius has changed, and so the cheesing event that you can do for Malagaz has also changed a little. So not really. It's not really been a lot of new stuff for mages. I mean, there is new stuff, but it's late game. Or not necessarily. Actually, we could. Um, we could theoretically use the Noxious Meteor Staff. I'm not saying we should, but it is an option because this is the new mage weapon. So we can consider this. Do we want to use Arcane Staff, Fireball Staff, Noxious Meteor Staff, or Scholar Staff? I do have an up-to-date mage guide. But yeah. That doesn't mean I can't add more mage stuff. Yeah, there's really not much that'll help us with poison. That's very true, count from zero. So we don't have a lot of poison related things that are also magic related. So let's just go ahead and say no. I'm going to go ahead and say no to the Noxious Meteor Staff. But for those who haven't seen it yet, since it is brand new, it functions just like the other Meteor Staff does. It just drops. Yeah, it's really just Ivy. And I wouldn't necessarily say that Ivy's armor is the best choice for a mid-game mage build. Although it does make it something we could consider. Do we want to just make an Ivy mage build? Because if that's the case, then we don't need any of... Well, I might need hoods. Yeah. Okay, so let's say we are using the Scholars, or the Noxious Meteor Staff. Let's say that's our weapon. I'm just going to go with that. We've got the Ivy set. Let's look at, I don't remember, what's Ivy's ring do? I always discount it because I usually look at it and go, oh, that's why I never use it. And then I promptly forget about it again. Oh, that's why I never use it. Because it's just ranged attack speed. Which ranged attack speed I don't think matters for the meteor stabs because they have a set speed. But let's find out. All right, hold on. All right. I push the button. 1,000. Okay, it takes a little over a second for that weapon, for that damage to drop. So let's do this again. 1,000. 1,000. Yeah, it doesn't change it. So screw that ring. So the only advantage to Ivy's armor is a boost to your critical hit chance. That's the boost. It's crit. Ivy's armor is a crit build armor. Yeah. So if we're doing this, we want to focus on crit. Lots of crit. So I'm going to go with the Sorcerer Hood over the Scholar Hood because I don't need that ranged attack speed. We may change the hood later, but again, this is a mage build, so I'm at least trying to pretend that I'm a magic user. And not just make a... Because here's the other thing. I have an Ivy crit build already. And so if we just want to take that Ivy crit build and replace the weapon with this staff, you can absolutely do that. But I don't want to just recreate that previous build because that would be pointless. So let's see. We want to make it different from that, but also focusing on the crit factor. So with that in mind, Let me see what I've got. I currently only have an 8% crit chance. I need to grab a drink. My mouth is suddenly turning into cotton. So give me one sec, guys. I'll be right back. Again. Yeah, I was muted. Thank you. You're right about the mold ring. Definitely using one of those. I think you're also right about that glow tulip ring. I'm also leaning toward the copper cross necklace. Um, I'm definitely not using the nomad necklace. I know that. These two are still on the table. I'm not using the polished copper cross. All right, so we've decided on our weapons, so let's just get rid of these. All right, I currently only have a 19% crit chance right now. $32. I can get to 41 if I also use the concealed blade. Get it up to level 13, so it's tied with the rest of them. And let's do that. All right, I'm not going to use the crescent rings. I'm not using the boundary rings. I'm definitely not using the wild wardens. or the nomads. I haven't fully ruled out all these other ones yet. That's ruled out. All right, I haven't fully ruled out any of this yet, but we're gonna do some testing. So carpentry bench. Oh, I have it turned off. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna log out real quick. I gotta get a mod. I had it turned off for some other project I was working on. Does beating dummy require anything? No, doesn't look like it. And if it does, it'll enable itself. All right. There is a dummy mod, yeah. Who was I playing? Oh, I think I was playing as my insane character. I'm gonna need to change this out, change it to a different character when I actually test this on like real creatures. Why didn't the mod load? Hold on. Should have loaded. All the mods are here. I'm gonna reboot one more time. There we go. Now it's working. Okay. So currently we're at 0 of everything. And let's see what we got from a stat standpoint. And this guy's got 5x crit damage, but not crit hit. Let's let's see here. This currently, without any buffs, puts me at a 41% crit hit chance. Let me also just check my skills here. Does this have any skills that matter? So also consider what would a person's skills be at this point in the game? Like, that's not necessarily that they're going to be maxed out. So, like, if they're maxed out in gardening, then yeah, they would have, potent poison and they'd have thorny weapons. But what if they're not? This isn't endgame. I can't expect people to have max skills. So, what if I set skill gardening to, let's say, 67? I think that might be a reasonable amount to expect a person to have in the mid game. So we've got this. And I can't make it all the way down to potent poison with that. So instead, I'm just going to go down and get thorny weapons, get what I can with thorny weapons. Same with magic. Let's set the skill for magic to about 76. Oh, yeah, helps if I set it to magic. And let's get this 2% mana recovery on a critical hit. And let's increase our magical damage on a critical hit as well. Just making sure that nothing I'm doing here would be affected. Cooking might affect things. So if your gardening is in the 60s, your cooking should be around the same. So let's set skill cooking to just straight up 70. Yeah, see, I don't have this maxed out anymore. I'm still doing damage, just not as much. And I don't think anything in vitality is going to matter. So we'll leave vitality alone, even though it wouldn't be maxed out. This is just damage reduction. Ranged combat, though. If I'm not focused on ranged, so my range skill might only be like 7 right now because I've been focusing on magic, So in which case, I don't have amplified precision for that extra crit damage. We can say the same is true for melee. We can say melee's 4. Don't have anything there. And set skill summoning to, let's say 2. So those wouldn't be. And then set skill vitality. I'd say it would probably lag behind your main combat skill. So let's go with yeah, let's just go with 70. Like mining probably wouldn't be maxed out, but it's going to be high. All right. Let's set skill summoning. Let's set it to 18. Crafting can be maxed out. It is so easy to max your crafting out in before you even beat the first boss that there is no excuse for anyone not to have max crafting by this point in the game. It's just way too easy to do. Um I'm gonna leave fishing. I'm gonna change fishing. We all know no one fishes. You know, no one fishes. Of course, I'm doing all of this right now, and I'm going to end up changing it back to 100 because this character still has 500,000 hit points. I can't use this for any actual boss testing. It's not a valid character for that. But I'm going to leave the rest alone. I'm going to enable these because we've got them. I'm going to leave this disabled because it's dangerous. And I'm going to leave these disabled because we don't have them yet. All right. So that affected our crit damage a lot, but that didn't affect our crit hit chance, which is good. So now I think I'm actually going to stick with my crit hit damage pet because I feel like I need it. But we will see. Well, let's see. Do I have a crit hit chance pet too? I probably do somewhere. Where the hell? My pets are so spread out. Oh God, we should also consider the magic pets. Because like for example, here's, this one's got 4 crit hit damage. Is crit hit chance a thing that these pets can give too? Yeah, it is. I can hit crit hit chance on these. I just don't have one. Yeah, that's true. Once I apply that poison, my crit hit chance is going to go up. So I know I have like 1,000 beast boosters somewhere, but I don't know where they are. So I'm just going to give myself 20 here. Level this guy up. Because you also can get a pet to level 10 pretty easily. So I'm not worried about that. A level 10 pet is perfectly reasonable. Now here's interesting because none of those crit damages, mind you, it's only 4x crit damage, but I'm gonna go with one here, here, and then got it. All right, so I got the -1 to boost it with some crit hit chance also. And we got a little triple trouble. So not bad, not bad. Overall, we got a 2% triple trouble. We're not going to get that very much, but it's at least an option. We're going to get a little bit of crit hit chance boost, but we're mostly going to get a crit damage boost. And then we get a mana regeneration and a mana barrier boost. So I think I would pick that um, over the Owl Lux. But we'll test both. Where did I put that? There it is. Now, this is a slow attack speed. I got a crit for 6k there. All right, so I've run out of mana pretty fast. Mana is definitely a problem. I'd be struggling now if I still had a large group that I was dealing with. All right, these are our numbers. Although the DPS is going to drop steadily because, the attacks have ended. But max damage, that's not a lot of damage. I mean, the average damage, 3,000 is enough to one-shot most general mobs. I don't think this is a good build for a boss, though. But you could explore with this build. Yeah, hitting groups. But let's tweak this a bit. Hold on, let's do some more hits. Yeah. So 1,300 DPS, large groups, kiting them around. All right. What's our number here? Hold on. 6,000. That's our current max on our damage. Let's see how we can tweak this a bit. I'm gonna swap out the pet, and let's see if that changes things. Actually, you know what? Let's reset. Let's get my mana back up to full. And mind you, we're doing this unbuffed also, so buff food will change this whole story also. That actually, unless it's just for the fact that there's sheer dumb luck, let's keep going. Let's do this a little longer. There we go. There's a better crit. So I had a slightly higher max DPS. However, my average damage has gone down. My max damage is down a little bit. So personally, I think I would probably stick with this pet. Now, what happens if we lower the crit chance but increase my general damage as much as possible? Or my magic damage as much as possible. Oops. I did not mean to destroy that. Don't know why there's a destroy button. Oh, I understand why there's a destroy button. You can't break these things. That makes sense. My DPS actually went up. My minimum damage went up, although, and my average damage went up. That's an improvement. So this, I would say, let's do it again. Hold on. One test is not empirical evidence. I want to see if this changes at all. Okay, the average damage went down a bit. With some more. Let's do this some more. The average damage continues to go down the more I do it. Interesting. Okay. Let's go. Let's try out a different necklace. Let's try out the pearl necklace, which gives me more mana regen and more barrier, which increases my crit stuff, I believe. No, I don't have that skill. Because that's the skill that increases my magic damage from barrier. Okay. Wow, that was a 13,000 triple trouble right there. That's going to skew the numbers a little bit. So we're going to have to do a lot of extra hits on here to get these numbers to average out properly. Yeah, because my max damage was 13k. Oh no. Triggered all that. Oh. There we go. Now my DPS is going up. All right, hold on. Let's turn these off. All right, we're gonna go with just damage. The torque necklace. We still got rings to test. We still got offhands to test. Now it feels, but with this, that I'm running out of mana quicker. Although that may just be anecdotal. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and rule out the glass bead necklace. I don't think it's gonna help. All right, I don't think the torque damage is right either. We're gonna scrap that. Um, all right, we're gonna test these three again. Oh my God, Zed, you are making me want to go back to stop playing Core Keeper and play Schedule 1. I named one of my products in Schedule 1 the Kobayashi Maru. And it's a top seller. And yeah, everyone loves it. Okay. So, again, we're at 5,500 an average of around 2,200. Now we know this can get higher with the right crit. It's good to see what it looks like in multiple tests. Crit one's pretty good. I can't deny that. Let's consider that option, Zed. And I will. And let's put these on instead. So I'm wearing the sorcerer gear. But I'm otherwise going to keep everything here the same. My crit chance has dropped to 28%. Let's see what this does. Oh, hold on. Let me reset it. One thing I'm noticing is less downtime. I'm able to get more shots in before I run out. However, my DPS is about the same. My max damage is about the same. Yeah, the damage is really about the same. The only difference is I'm not critting as often, I noticed. I was getting a lot more crits with the Ivy set. But I have more mana regen. I'm able to get more hits in overall without the Ivy set. Which then makes me ask, how much is crit actually necessary? You know, can I get rid of the mold ring and replace it with a glass bead ring or another polished glow tulip? Like, if I swap out the mold ring there, all right, we're at 5,300, 2,200. All right, max damage goes down, max DPS goes down. Okay, that was a bad choice. Losing that crit made a big difference. But actually, let me try losing the crit and instead going with the polished glow tulip ring for the extra magic damage and mana regen. Maybe the extra hits that I'll get in will make up for it. It does not. Wow, that's even worse. Okay, so we definitely want a mold ring. You know what? Now that makes me ask, is it worth it to get two mold rings? Not really noticing any negative impacts. Okay, so weird that my max damage seems to have gone up a bit, but my DPS is down a little. Interesting. Okay. Let's leave the two mold rings on and let's put the Ivy set back on and see what this does. All right, I'm already out of mana, so I ran out pretty quick. You definitely notice that you're getting less hits. But my damage has gone up significantly. Although the max DPS seems to still be around the same. All right, let's also try this. I'm going to just switch to the copper cross necklace. Let's just, oh wait, hold on. Let's reset this. Yeah, so much less hits. Like it's like 2 or 3 less hits. Or, well, we should actually count that and actually get some empirical evidence for it. But, oh, my DPS was actually pretty low this time. But my max damage was good. Yeah, let's swap out offhands now. Let's see what happens when we change out the offhand. That's pretty good. Hold on, I'm gonna reset that again. See how many shots I get. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I basically get 6 shots off before I'm completely out of mana. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that's 1 fewer shot. I only get 5 shots off with the Rift Lens. So Rift Lens, not as good as the book. That mana regen makes a difference. Let's swap it out for just some raw damage. See what happens. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's 5 hits, but not as good. The damage is actually lower, although the max damage is up a bit, but the min damage is down. The DPS is down. All right, the book. All right, so we're definitely ruling out that, and we're ruling out that. I'm going to re-equip the concealed blade real quick. 1, 2. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm just making sure it's reset. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's also 5 shots. Good DPS. A lot of crits. Two, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that also was at 5 hits. All right. I don't know. I think I actually prefer the concealed blade. I really do. Um, but hold on, let's try a different combo. Swap out to just that. A lot more mana regen. I got 13 hits in before I ran out of mana. So that made a big freaking difference. 5 hits to 13. Whoa. From just a general utility standpoint, that's much, much better. The DPS is also solid. The max damage is solid. I have no complaints about that. Let's mess around some more. All right, so I think we're kind of zeroing in here. One sec. I need to fix that. Okay. Now, let's mess around with the necklaces a little bit more. All right. 8 shots before I ran out of mana. DPS is a lot lower. Not worth it. That lack of crit. All right, let's see what this does. All right, that's 10 shots before I ran out. Not bad, but fewer crits. So, yeah, I think we're going back to the Copper Cross necklace for that extra crit. I want to mess around with the rings at all. I don't think I do. I kind of think I'm happy with this design as is. Um, so we got the Scholar or the Sorcerer set. We've got the Copper Cross necklace, the mold rings, the blue leather tome, Octarine, Pearl Lantern, and then this gives us crit damage, which is definitely helpful considering how low our crit damage is now. I mean, look at that. That's really low. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna swap out with these rings. It decreases my crit hit chance, but my crit damage goes up a lot. Let's see what happens. All right, I only got 9 hits there before I ran out of mana. Look at that, max damage went up a lot. DPS went up a bit, but not a significant amount. But my max damage and my min damage definitely went up. Oops, hold on. This needs to be reset. Whoa. I think that was a bit skewed since it triple trouble procced there. Let's reset that and try again. Hey, Optimistic, this is the Noxious Meteor Staff. It's a brand new mage staff. We figured we could see if we could make a build around it. That worked pretty well. Hmm. Hmm. That's pretty good. All right, one last test here with the rings once the mana's back. The noticeable lack of crits. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely doesn't work. All right, so far this is my favorite setup. Um let's test it in the wild a little bit. Oh yeah, cautiously optimistic. I totally understand you there. That was a definite killer spot for a lot of people. I want to see how well this thing handles raw car. All right. I'm gonna go grab my buff food. Now, at this point in the game, there's really nothing from a food standpoint that you shouldn't have the ability to get. Like, you should be able to fish up anywhere. You should be able to at least run in and grab some passage water and run out. Um, so, and you should be able to survive in, the desert long enough to be able to fish. So I'm going to use my end game fish food, but I'm going to use the rare versions, not the epic versions. Optimistic, the foods that give you fire immunity are found by fishing in the lava. The verdant dragonfish, and I believe it's the elder dragonfish, are the ones that give you immunity to burning. And Zed, you can always just turn Halloween on if you need to. You can go into the game settings and set your season to whatever you want. Hey, how convenient. Some testing. It's actually pretty good. Although when they're chasing you, it does kind of suck. There we go. You just got to figure out where to aim. Okay. Now, I'm not entirely confident in my ability to beat Rockar with this build, but we shall see. Actually, you know what? I'll be fine beating Rockar because this character is practically invulnerable. So, my goal is to see if I can do this without really taking any damage either. Why am I suddenly not clicking on anything? What? That's weird. I lost total control of my character for a split second there. I couldn't click on anything. God. These beetles are the biggest nightmare. There we go. Beetles handled. Finally. Frickin' hell. Haven't taken it. Well, I took 1 point of damage, but my barrier managed to cover it. So, oh goody, more of those freaking guys. Ah! All right, I got hit, but it wasn't bad. All right, at this point, I would probably have had to have used a heal. All right. I'm figuring out how to use the staff to hit the moving targets. You just have to aim in front of you, not at them. Aim where they're going to be, not where they are. All right, this fight's over. Oh my god, really? Okay, good. I was like, he summoned more beetles right at the end. Okay, yeah, so mind you, this is also raw car on hard mode. So for those of you on standard mode, probably won't have to deal with as much. And also I won't lie, I'm using my high hit point character, but what does it say? 45069 455. So I took about 4,000 points of damage throughout that fight. So it definitely was a fight where if I hadn't had heals, I would have died. And if I hadn't been this character. So we should try and maybe try a better test would be on a character that isn't invulnerable like this one. Um, but from a general proof of concept, you can beat the boss with this weapon. You can do it. God, what I wonder what Omeroth would look like with this build. I'd probably die. Omeroth would be. I don't think Omeroth would be good for this build. It's too slow. The Omeroth fight would drag on too long, and you'd have way too many tornadoes, and you wouldn't be able to keep up, and you'd just get killed. I don't think this build would do well against Omeroth. I mean, I'm sure probably using any staff is better with the same build. Um, let's try again. See what happens. Certainly easier to deal with the ads, that's for sure. Tech feels a little slower, to be honest with you, although even though it's probably about the same speed, if not a little faster. But I don't know, it just feels weaker. It probably isn't, it's just my imagination, but we're still doing the job, you know? The build is still working in general. Ow. That just took out my barrier. So, hooray for barrier. Oh, goody. More of you guys. He's dead. I got him. Barrier's coming back. I've barely taken any damage. I wouldn't have even needed a heal. I may have needed one heal. No, not really. I didn't even take like 1,000 damage. So, yeah, it's probably a travel speed thing. Although, it's funny, the Scholar Staff actually has double the attack speed. It has a 1.0 while that only has a 0.5. So, it just felt like it probably because of travel time. That beam is just real slow moving. So, yeah, this is fun. This build can definitely work. Hell, let's try the Fireball Staff out. I'm gonna need to level it up. Let's run back to a base and level that up. Here, let's just do this. Yep, level 13 Fireball Staff. And let's put that on it. Okay, let's refresh my buffs. What's my crit chance? 50%? That's not bad. Uh, he appeared before he appeared. So the Scholar Staff definitely is better at dealing with the scarabs, that's for sure. Although being able to put this burn damage on is nice, because then I'm constantly damaging him even when I'm having to run away. And he's taking damage even when he's down there in the pit. All right. Yeah, overall, this build will work fine with pretty much any one of the stabs. I mean, I could also test it with the Arcane Staff. The Arcane Staff's probably the one that I'll struggle with it the most. Let's go ahead and give it, just because, yeah, help if I use the give term. And let's just go ahead and remove boss. Scarab boss. Soul orb. There we go. All right, I'm going to level this up. We'll test this real quick as well. My guess is because of the crit's not high enough, this weapon probably won't be as good. All right, let's see how this does. First, let's refresh our buffs. All right, let's do it. Actually, I'm critting a lot. I'm critting enough that I'm actually holding on to my mana. I'm surprised. This is actually working really well. Whoa. All right, that got a little dicey for a second there. But that had nothing to do with the boss himself. That was just too many ads at once. Just like that. They just come at you while you're hiding. All right, this fight's over. We win. Oh man, I probably would have if I didn't have all the hit points. I would have died right there. Hey Zero, good to see you. We've just been. I know. I still think that the arcane staff is the weakest of the staffs in this instance. We're just testing a new mid-game build. I was basing the build around the noxious meteor staff, but then we decided to see how well it would do with with some other staves as well, and it does pretty good. But ultimately, I think we found our build. No game sound? Really? You're not getting game? Has everyone been experiencing no game sound this entire time and no one's told me? What the hell is going on with my game? Here's the thing. On my end, there is nothing preventing game sound from running. Absolutely nothing. It's playing on my end. It's processing on my end. I'm getting bit rates on my end. Everything as far as OBS is concerned, game audio is working and it is streaming. But apparently no one's getting it. So I don't know what the hell's going on. This is the second time that this has happened. Yeah, it's the same problem as yesterday, Kami, and I have no idea. I have no idea. Because on my end, it's working. It's 100% working. I don't know why you guys aren't getting it. How about now? Are you guys getting it now? Because I've got music playing. Okay, so you're getting it now? Okay, good. All right, I figured it out. Hey, Major Chit, thank you so much for the Twitch follow. I appreciate it. Now you can hear it? All right. So I'm just gonna sit here casting my spell for a minute to make sure people can hear this. There. I've made things louder. All right, so here we got the build put in here. I will probably make a build video for this later. But at least for now, we've got the build put together and it's in place. Thank you guys so much for helping me with it. I really appreciate it. Let's throw all this other junk into a chest. Hey, congrats, Zero. Congrats, man. That's great. That's great that you got a new client. That's awesome. Okay, I do not need this many wood freaking shovels. So I'm going to hold on to my Stormbringer. Aw, I appreciate it, Zero. But definitely make sure you're supporting yourself first. I know you are. But I do appreciate it, though. But right now, there's not much sound. The music just stopped. And there it goes again. Now it just started again. It's a weird fine line when it comes to my audio. When I do it, when I set everything too high, you can't hear me, or I blow out people who are wearing headphones. And then when I set it to accommodate the people wearing headphones, the people using speakers can't hear me. So it's like, sound, man. I mean, let's think about this. You know how everyone complains about how all these professional movies and TV shows nowadays, like the dialogue is super quiet, but the explosions are super loud and the sound effects are super loud? Even the professionals can't get sound editing right because there's too many variables to be able to make it work properly for every single person. I don't know. I don't expect myself to be able to pull it off either. Oh, how did you get through? Look at that. What is he doing here? How did you get over there? Ah. Well, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. I think what I'm going to have to do, just to figure out how this happened, I think I'm going to need to just record some time. A couple of hours, maybe, of me just standing here, letting stuff do its thing. All right. Hey, GM. Thanks for the shout out. Welcome from the Philippines. I got quite a few viewers from that part of the world. I've always wanted to go there. It looks gorgeous. All right, so we got to figure out how he moved, but other than that, this farm's hasn't killed a single mob yet. Of course it hasn't. Or if it has, they didn't drop any meat. It has to have, because I'm down to... I placed 3 adults, and oh, maybe it didn't. Maybe I killed that 3rd adult that just then, and all we had was the 3 adults and the baby. Maybe it hasn't killed any yet. Alright. Well, we'll give this more time. Sure, I can do a quick tour of my base. I haven't... my base is definitely not complete, because there's still a lot of things I want to do with my base that I just haven't taken the time to build yet, like a trophy room, a general, like, items room, like a figurines kind of area. There's a couple of other rooms that I want to build that I just haven't yet. But here is my core area. I'm thinking of redoing it. I like that it's a green garden area, but I want it to be a little bit more built out. Yeah, Dusty, I got to figure out what's causing that so that I can see if I can figure out how to block it. That was one of the biggest problems with the 1.0 cattle farm, was they would glitch and end up in this corner area. And maybe they are still glitching. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. This is my current cattle area. It's a mess. A complete and utter mess. Then over here, I have got my item storage and my, in fact, actually, let's do this. My auto sorting system for my ore. So what I've got up here is my wood farms. So I've got my 3 wood farms. And all of the loot from the wood farms comes over and comes down into this spot right here, where it gets connected in with the auto smelter. And since the wood can't get smelted, it ends up just moving through the auto smelting system and into the auto sorting system here. And in this auto sorter, all that happens is all of my bars, after they get smelted, get placed in, and then all of my wood and planks also get placed here. If for some reason there's overflow, or there's something that gets caught up that doesn't belong, it'll go here. Although I expect this to be empty most of the time. Then I've got my general loot room here, which I still need to finish decorating. I'll get around to that someday. And there's room for it to expand. I've got some chests I haven't used, and I've got a whole section down here that I haven't used yet either. Let's see here. And over here, this is my crafting room. I've got all of my crafting benches within 10 tiles of my 3 chests in the middle. So everything is just kept here. And I actually think I only needed... Yeah, I'm only using 2 of the 3 chests right now. But I've got it room to grow in case, you know, they add more stuff. I also went ahead and spawned a ancient forge just for cool decoration. You normally can't do this. I had to do this with a mod. I got my upgrade bench here, and this is where my ancient coins are kept in both of these chests. Then I've got my fishing holes. I've got all my various fishing waters. I've got passage water over here. And then here's my character's bedroom. I just actually made this recently. Nothing fancy, just a little bit of a decorative area for me to sleep in case I needed it. And then over here is the NPC village. This is where each one of my NPCs has their own little hut. And this is probably my most decorated area. There's the other NPC. And that's pretty much it for my base. Everything else that's around here is testing stuff. Like this entire area up here. Like you see all of these things. None of this is actually here anymore. I need to run around and remove it. Like if I went up on my map. Yeah. And you can see all of these, my map. You look at the mini map up here, you can look and see all this stuff changing. As I've removed most of this stuff. Or I've at least changed it in some way. We got a little crystal farm here. It's kind of nice. But yeah, other than that, I had built a whole bunch of mob farms over here. In fact, actually, you can still see some of the ruins that I haven't come over and fully collected everything yet. These are old mob testing farms that I did a long time ago that I've just torn up and haven't completely removed all the stuff yet. Lots of item lag. Lots and lots of item lag there. And then let's see here. I do have one other area, or a couple of other areas that are like base areas, but they're not my main base. So let's see. If we come over here. This was my early game boss testing area. So I've got like early game boss buff foods. Yeah. Bunch of buff foods that'll work for the early game in all of these. I got a couple of early game builds from some early videos I did. And then I just was testing with Malagaz. And then I've got my main... These are my two main boss testing areas. We've got my old one. You cannot move the Ancient Forge. Cat Monk. You cannot move it. You need to use mods and spawn it in. Technically, there are now 2 Ancient Forges in my world. One at my base and one where it's supposed to be. So this was my my like testing area for new builds, and then I would just run over to the west, over here to my boss, to the core commander, and I'd fight the core commander. And I still keep a lot of my buff foods here. So like this is my display for all of my melee. Is this my melee buff foods? No, these are my generics. So these are my generic buff foods that I take no matter what character I'm using. And so it's like these are the 2 ingredients that make up this food. And then I've got here's my melee ones, my ranged ones, etc., etc. But I've actually moved the foods themselves over here to my new, more decorated boss character build area. So this is my my evil laboratory. And then all of my various character builds that I do all end up here. This is where I stash them all. So I've got a lot more room to grow with a lot of extra character builds. And then I can do upgrade stuff, work here, and then I can cook a bunch of stuff here. Because this is where I actually store all of my endgame buff food that I have. So... And then I have, I think, 2 more areas of interest on this map. Yeah, my last two areas of interest are both mob farms. So we've got this one right here. This is my passage mob farm. And I am, as you can see, right in the middle of the passage. And Urslime, I'm just on the edge of Urslime's territory as well. He passes right by. But basically, as long as I stand in the middle here, all of the passage mobs that spawn to attack me, they die before they ever reach me. So, in fact, some of them are coming right now, and oh, there they go. They're dead. And this is a hard mode world, too. So, yeah, this is my passage farm. And then over here is my main mob farm. Very bright. But this mob farm, let me go into no clip here so I can move around. It's overkill. I will use way too many Galaxite turrets. Like, you do not need, if you're building these farms, you do not need to use as many Galaxite turrets as I do. You just put like 5 on each side here at the bottom, and you're more than fine. But yeah, all of my various mob farms, although the radiation crystals are broken right now, so they're not killing these guys. But the loot... in this main mob farm, all my loot comes and ends up in this sorting system here. Hey, thank you so much, Lucas. Muchas gracias. Appreciate it. Although you guys speak Portuguese in Brazil, don't you? And that was Spanish, so I apologize. How do you collect loot in the passage farm? Well, I will give you the answer. So I've got a chest here, and with the gear that you need. So basically what I do is I just equip a mold set to make me immune to the mold. I equip a Remadaisy necklace to make me immune to poison. A couple of high-end magnetic rings to increase my pickup radius. And a rift lens to teleport around. Then I break one of the... You have to be careful because these things do damage to you. But basically, you just teleport out to the outer edge here. And then I just run around. And most everything gets picked up. What doesn't get picked up, I can grab in another pass. But if you've got good control, you can teleport around everything so that you don't actually get hit by any of the spikes. You just got to know where to place your arrow. And that's it. Then I put my my guy back, put my stuff back when I'm done, and we're good to go. So it is more manual of a process than the other farms are, but it's the only thing I could figure out that didn't also get me killed. Because it's definitely hard to automate the movement. It's something I can work on and consider, but at least in this first design, automating collection is much more challenging. Yes, cat. They are invisible for me too. That is a bug. If you are curious about all of the fun various bugs that are currently in the game, check out my latest frequently asked questions video. I go over all the major bugs and what the devs know and where the devs are, as far as they're publicly telling me, telling us anyway. Unfortunately, I don't know when the next update is going to be. Hopefully, it'll be soon, and all these bugs will get fixed. But knowing Pugstorm, they tend to they like to wait and collect all of their bugs up and do a big patch that fixes a bunch of stuff at once, rather than a lot of little patches quickly and fixing one or two things. So unless there's something that's totally game breaking, they're not going to issue an emergency patch. I should expect that in maybe between 1 and 3 weeks from now, we should get a fix, knowing their habits. But who knows? They may change, and suddenly we'll get something quickly. They've done that to me before. Hey, study group. I do have a Patreon. I've got there's a link in the description to my channel, as well as a link not on this stream, because for some reason YouTube doesn't automatically add stuff to my stream descriptions. But if you go to any of my VODs, there's a link to my Patreon. You could also become a YouTube member. One advantage of being a YouTube member is you get early access to my videos, which is something that doesn't currently happen for Patreon members. But when I do produce something that is member exclusive, then that goes up for Patreon as well as YouTube members. So, member exclusive stuff, which I'll admit I don't do stuff that only goes up to members very often. I do try to make as much as possible public. But there's lots of choices. I've got Patreon, I've got PayPal. You can subscribe to me on Twitch. You can become a YouTube member. I've got all sorts of ways you can help support the channel. If you also want something in return, I have a merchandise page as well. You can go to my merch site and you can just buy one of our various merch items. So if you wanted some sort of physical thing to get as well. Enough shameless plugging. Let me think of what to do next, because I kind of have hit my wall. How long have I been streaming? I've been streaming for about 3 hours. Yeah, I've got lots of different ways people can try to support me. I don't know which way is the best way, Most people seem to use YouTube membership. I have one Patreon supporter right now, and I have like 30 YouTube member supporters. So it seems that YouTube membership is the popular way that people are going about it at the moment. But honestly, I don't care. There's so many different ways. You can support me however you want. Even just watching the videos is support enough. The best DPS build, in my opinion? Oh my god, for what, Charlie? Ranged, magic, melee? It's 10K, GM. Oh god, wouldn't it be nice if I had 100K subscribers? Oh man, that would be great. But it's only 10K, but thank you. I do appreciate it. No, you're good. You're good. It's just, I wish it was 100K. Tell your 99,000 friends to support my channel and become a subscriber. Oh, what are my fast builds? My favorite... all right, let me grab my favorite build. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if it's the best DPS build, Charlie, but it's my favorite. Let me switch characters to someone who's got it put together. Let's glow. Yeah, here we go. Of course, now I gotta find my pet. That'll work. Oh, wait, is that melee? Ew. No. I don't know where all my good pets are. Definitely not those. What's my crit chance? Sure. All right, this is... What did I just move? That was weird. Let's see. Any tips? Let me catch up on chat here. Any tips on going to the passage? Just got in, I'm quite scared. When it comes to the passage, fast attack speed definitely helps. Ranged builds also help. So things like the throwing dagger, Stormbringer, if you've got Stormbringer, or an obliteration ray, if you don't have Stormbringer yet. Which you wouldn't if you've just gotten to the passage. You may have an obliteration ray, but you probably won't have Stormbringer. The obliteration ray is really good just because it's such a fast attack. It kills off the passage creatures pretty quickly. Mobility. Attack speed helps. So if you have your buff food that gives you attack gives you movement speed and attack speed, those things can help. And yeah, study group, I'm absolutely open to playing with other people. Just join up on my Discord. If, you know, if you're available and I'm available at the same time and, you know, the stars align right, then I'm totally down with playing. A lot of times when I'm online, I'm busy. I'm usually doing stuff, but if I'm not, I'll message in chat and be like, hey, is anyone up for anything? So yeah, I'm definitely open to playing with people. Okay, so Charlie, this is my favorite ranged build. Uses the Atlantean Wormhelm, the Gemstone Garment, the God-Sent King Pants. It does not need the Pearl Lantern. It doesn't really, it doesn't really matter what lantern you use, but the Pearl Lantern's what I'm using. Mold Vein Necklace, Hydra Tooth, Skull Ring, Polished Gold Crystal Ring, Octarine Backpack, and then whatever pet you want to use. I'm using this Crit Chance one with Faramoth, but you can use an Owl Lux. It doesn't matter. And then the weapon is the Quill Rifle. Let me just repair it real quick. I'll show you unbuffed what kind of damage it does. or what its DPS essentially is like. I haven't done an empirical test as to what is the best, what does the absolute most damage per second. I might do something like that eventually, but I'm not super concerned with min-maxing, and I know a lot of people are, but I'm just concerned with a build that is good enough to do what it needs to do. Let's have some caveling bread. There we go. And then I've got everything turned on except for my Soul of Azios, and the Soul of Omeroth is going to definitely increase the effectiveness of this build. In fact, that's part of it. I'm wearing the Godson King pants in order to trigger the Soul of Omeroth more. So doing that. I'm surprised I actually haven't triggered. There we go. I was gonna say, I'm surprised I haven't triggered at least one tornado by now. Usually because of the fast attack speed of this thing. And this is unbuffed. When I put attack speed buffs on and damage buffs and stuff, obviously this all gets so much higher. But you can see I'm constantly generating tornadoes and I'm constantly generating raw car triangles because there's such a high attack speed for this weapon. Look at that. I'm still, after I stopped, I'm still generating triangles. So we're looking, this is currently unbuffed, is about 39,000, almost 40,000 DPS. Let's bring this with us and take it over to the build area. Where did I get rare glistening? Whatever. I don't even remember where I got this from. Okay, I need to put away a build. And then, where is it? I think this is one of my... Oh, no. Do I not have it? Some of my early builds, I've ended up on other characters and eventually got broken apart, and I don't remember where they all are. And I think this was one of them. All right, let's see if we can put it back together. Hold on, let me check my notes. I'm gonna go into my character builds. I mean, there is PvP in this game. You can enable PvP in Core Keeper. Yeah, alright. I've at least got screenshot. I've got a screenshot of the build. If you want to enable PvP in Core Keeper, just come up here and click Enable PvP at the top. And then you can attack other players. It's disabled by default. Yeah, no problem, GM, anytime. It's something that not everyone's just not everyone's aware of because they don't really advertise it, and they haven't really done anything that's special for PvP other than make it exist. Oh, man, I forgot I got bar. I was able to get a lot on this one. This is not a fair test. Because it's got -3. -1 is fine. -3, though. Alright, this one's at 0. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm gonna use the mana regen one. You need an auto clicker to be able to get to -3 or a mod. I think I used a mod and didn't realize it. I was helping a friend test a mod out. Pretty sure that this magic build is pretty strong too. We're just going to give this a second to make sure that we have, you know, a decent amount of data. All right, so this one was significantly less. It was only 16,000. So yeah, this DPS was half, more than half, of what I was doing with the ranged one. But it's still, this magic one still feels strong. You know, it's DPS maybe a little slower, but that's just because this is focused on crit and mana regen, this build, in order to give me infinite mana so that I can use the arcane staff like it was a normal ranged weapon without having to worry about my mana. While the quill rifle is able to focus entirely on damage and attack speed. So even though the quill rifle is 4 attacks per second, I'm actually able to get it up to about 8 attacks per second with the boosts to all of my melee and ranged attack speeds. And this is still sitting at 3.5, maybe at most 4 attacks per second. So it's just getting less attacks. There is nothing in the game that matches the quill rifle on DPS. Now there may be ways to get higher DPS in general, with different build combos. I haven't tested what is the best, but the quill rifle is the fastest weapon in the game. I mean, Stormbringer, I guess Stormbringer's faster. I'm pretty sure Stormbringer is 5 attacks per second instead of 4, like the quill rifle is 4. I forget about Stormbringer on purpose because I kind of consider Stormbringer to be like the cheat weapon. It's the item that it's a weapon that's not supposed to be a weapon, but it's really, really good as a weapon. And if you want a generic build, if you're the kind of person that wants one build that does everything, one build for mining, and you use the same build for exploring, and you use the same build for fighting bosses, you only want to put one build together ever and never, ever, ever change it, then you're going to go with the Stormbringer build. I personally find that to be very dull. I get bored very quickly when I only have one build. And I don't like Stormbringer as a result. So I don't really use Stormbringer that often because of it. I prefer to use sledgehammers for mining because sledgehammers are better at clear cutting than Stormbringer is. I prefer other kind of ranged and magic builds other than Stormbringer. I mean, mind you, this is a Stormbringer theme right here, this armor set. But like I've got my arcane build here, you know, it doesn't use Stormbringer. I've got this, doesn't use Stormbringer. I like builds that don't use Stormbringer is what I'm getting at. So, there is no denying though that Stormbringer is strong. It is 100% very, very strong. It is very fast and it's worth getting. And worth having a build around it too, you know? But I don't like using it as my primary primary anything. Ah, I'm gonna break stuff in my own house. I'm trying to think what else right now, because I'm reaching the end. I think I'm gonna be calling it quits here in a second, guys. But thank you all for coming and joining me today. I may hop on to an impromptu stream later tonight. If I do, it's going to be streaming Schedule 1. I've been really hooked on that game, and I have every intention of playing it. If I don't have D&D tonight, which I don't know if I will or not, but if I don't have D&D tonight, then I am absolutely going to stream some Schedule 1. So we will see. And yeah, thank you guys. I hope you'll join me for that if it happens. If not, if I'm not scheduled, if I'm not, blah, blah, blah. If I don't stream Schedule 1 tonight, I am 100% streaming it tomorrow, as Thursday is my regular streaming day. So come catch me for some Schedule 1 tomorrow. Hey, Charlie, just to answer your question before I go, how you get the quill rifle. It is in the abiotic crossover scene that spawns in the Forgotten Ruins. So you just explore your Forgotten Ruins. You will find it there. So thank you guys so much. And I hope you enjoyed the stream. Stay happy, stay healthy. Stay crazy, everybody.